There are 168 hours in a week. We go to church for 1 hour. What about the other 167?
Cue this podcast. We're here to bring the church to you the rest of the week. I'm David Vogel, the Director of Communication here at Central Community Church.
I'm Cori Broddle, the Director of Community. We've been to the 1 hour in church. Now welcome to the other 167.
Well, this week's episode looks a little different. If you're watching the video, you'll see a couple things, but for those of you who are doing the podcast in its original form, just audio, I'll describe it. First of all, there are just two of us sitting here. It's Cori and me sitting at the desk. There's nobody in between us, and I just realized the chair looked really bad. It was like all askew.
It's kind of scary. They only get to listen to us today.
I know.
Usually we rely so heavily on a guest to fill in some blanks.
Yep, I have to use more words. I'm going to run out of my word quota this week early. And the other difference is we're both wearing very festive outfits.
You look snazzy.
I feel snazzy.
That is, are you going to wear that in worship, like on a Sunday?
I think so.
I think you should. I think you should pull it out.
And then I'll sign my separation papers from the church and go home.
Oh, I do like that. That is a nice blazer. You know I love blazers.
Yes, well,
I love blazers.
This was all of like $10 at Walmart a couple years ago. So
Good work.
I know.
All right, so because we're wearing Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas is the theme, right?
Yep. Of the podcast. Yes.
We're going to talk music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to rely on David to handle most of the talking because I'm not a music person. I know what I like and what I don't like, but I don't like all the specifics in between. So
there you go.
So you're going to talk a lot on this one. But we had kind of a conversation and we were talking about how music is just so important this time of year.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons for that is that it's so nostalgic for people. They say that aromas like that triggers memories. And I think that's true, but I think it's also very true of music. I know like when I'm working on something, like if I was working on a research paper in school and I had a certain song on the background, the next time that song popped up, I'd feel like I was back writing that research paper. And Christmas music for me is really like that because certain songs have certain memories attached to them. And I think that's probably like that for a lot of people.
Yeah. Do you have one? Do you have can you tell me one of the songs that
yes
you have the most memory?
So O Little Town of Bethlehem is one that takes me back to when I was a little kid. My parents had a strand of singing Christmas lights that we'd put on the tree every year.
Yes.
And we're talking like early 90s technology, so the sound was garbage. I mean, it was very tinny. It was not pleasant, but it'd cycle through all these different Christmas carols. And then the lights would twinkle to the rhythm.
Did it go like FM radio like they have now, or was it like did you have a boom box outside?
So just at the end of the Christmas strand of lights was just this little box with a tiny little speaker. I mean, we're talking, it was high quality.
Okay.
But for some reason, the song that I associate with that is A Little Town of Bethlehem. Just, I don't know, something about that. And I can still hear the sound quality. And interestingly enough, I can still smell kind of that plasticky, rubbery coating on the wire. I don't know why. It just had a certain smell. So, yeah, I know.
I do like those nowadays, like when you drive around and you have the music. But you're right, technology has kind of exploded a little bit.
It's a little less quality there.
Little box. I guess I haven't really thought about the memory part of it. But there are several that will take me back to church as a kid.
Yeah.
And the family aspect where, we're in a row with my parents, my sister, and we're there in church again. So I guess I really never thought of that.
Yeah. I think, and part of it is because these are songs that we only hear for a few weeks out of the year. So you really can't associate it with any other thing other than, kind of growing up. Those are the songs you heard in December or Christmas Eve night when you're dressed up and you really just want to be home opening presents instead of sitting in church.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you had another, again, when we were talking, you had another thought about music in this time. And we were talking about choir and school programs.
Yeah. So this is interesting. I think one of the things that I just like Christmas music all around. That's not a secret here in the office. But one thing that's kind of special about Christmas music is the way that it's like the one place that the world lets Christianity into pop culture and doesn't gripe about it really. And so what I was talking about you is like high school choirs, they have to put on a Christmas show. But if you look at the repertoire and a lot of what's available, so much of it is all coming from a sacred background. It's hard to find really quality choral music that's about Santa Claus or Rudolph or Frosty.
Right.
Those are all the silly songs. But when you want a song that's really got like a musical challenge to it, you turn to the more sacred songs that come from the church. And so and it's the same in the stores. I mean, you're cycling through Christmas music.
Yep.
There's only so many Santa Claus songs that you can get through before it's time for, somebody's rendition of Joy to the World or Silent Night.
And most radio stations, when you're flipping through and
B98, the 10 songs they cycle through, majority are Christmas.
That starts November 1st.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Not December 1st, November 1st that starts.
That might be saved on my radio favorites in my car right now.
Yeah, it's one of ours. It's the third one down, but it is there.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk albums.
Yes.
What's your favorite Christmas album?
My favorite. Oh, can I?
Okay,
there are subcategories here. There are subcategories.
Let me write these down.
Yes, please do. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I like. If I'm really just going for feel good classic Christmas, it's either Michael Bublé or Josh Groban. Their Christmas albums, I think, they're just solid.
Yeah.
And again, they're both a mix of the sacred and secular. Josh Groban has more because he's got more of that classic style. But even Bublé, he had a really great Silent Night with a children's choir on there. And I think he did Ave Maria too, which you don't hear a lot of crooners doing Latin, but he made a good pass at it.
I think you could do some Bublé. Have you?
I do some Bublé.
Yeah, I
yes.
bet you could.
Yeah. Not at church.
No. So those sound good. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So if I'm working in the office, I need something upbeat and just playing in the background. Any of the Pentatonics, like 20 Christmas albums.
I love Pentatonics. Yes, I'm with you. Can you crank that up when you're in your office?
Absolutely.
I'll open my door so I can listen to. That would be good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I joke. I made a joke several weeks ago. I was talking to my wife. I'm like, Pentatonics are probably going to put out their 56th Christmas album this year.
And you'll get it.
And like literally 2 weeks later, they announced they had another Christmas album coming out. And I think it's like, I don't know, somebody can correct me, but it feels like there's 5 consecutive Christmas albums they've put out.
Wow. So what's your favorite song from them?
Ooh.
Is that tough?
Yeah, you made me think.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't know.
I'll tell you mine while you're
please.
thinking. Mine is Mary, Did You Know?
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yep. Yeah, in this year's, and we can talk about new Christmas albums in a bit if you want.
Sure.
Because I have lists there too.
Okay.
But yeah, anything Pentatonics. Yeah, I don't know that I could pick a favorite. They're all pretty solid.
So old albums. Again, I'm not a music person. I just know what I like. But I can remember. I think I was 13 or 14. I don't know when this album came out.
So it's not that old.
I mean, I'm young.
Yes, I know.
I'm very young. Man, yeah, that was a while ago. Amy Grant's Christmas. I love, what's the song? The Christmas, what is it? Oh, My Grown Up Christmas List.
Oh, that's a tearjerker. That'll get you every time.
Isn't that good? Yeah, so I bought that album just for that
song?
Album, CD, album, whatever we call it. Yeah. I have it still, by the way.
I got the vinyl, kids.
Do people even buy those anymore?
Vinyl?
Well, not vinyl. Vinyl's back.
Oh, yeah,
CDs.
it is. CDs, there's still the aisle at Walmart that has CDs, but nobody's ever in that aisle.
That's true.
Now we just go to YouTube and rip the audio off for free. And don't say it. I don't do that.
I was going to say, is that even legal? Don't say that.
I pay Apple a handsome fee every month for Apple Music, so I'm paying for my rights.
Good. Okay, are you ready are you still in your subcategories?
We still got subcategories.
Okay, keep going.
We're almost done. Now, I really highly recommend this album, and I have our audio engineer, Blake, here at the podcast to thank for this one. It's kind of obscure and off the beaten path, but he introduced me to a singer-songwriter named Cody Fry.
Okay.
Who is the keyboardist, right, for Ben Rector, who's another amazing singer-songwriter.
You're saying words now I don't know.
Look up Ben Rector and then look up Cody Fry.
Okay.
So Cody's got it's not even an album. They're calling it just a compilation. But it's like, I don't know, a handful of his Christmas songs that he's done. and the first time I listened to it, it opens with a song, A God Rest Ye. And it's just like this huge cinematic orchestral piece, and it's amazing. And then it goes into the stuff where he's singing, but I mean, if I was going to make a Christmas movie, that's probably the opening song right there.
All right, I'll write that one down.
Ben Rector and Cody
look that
Fry.
up. Okay.
All-time favorite is the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack
I
by
should have
Vince
called
Guaraldi
that
Trio.
before you even said that.
Yes.
I should have called that out. I'm not surprised.
Yep, that is the one that will give me the warm fuzzies every single time.
Yeah. So, could you guys decorate with Charlie Brown Christmas? Don't you? Don't you have?
Well, my office has a Charlie Brown Christmas tree in there right now.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you do like that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk new albums then.
Yes. So every year I like to make a playlist that's just all of the new Christmas albums that have come out.
Okay.
Some of them are better than others. I think Meghan Trainor came out with a new one yet this year. I have not listened to it yet. I will get there.
Okay.
But I don't know much
So
about.
this is your list of what you want to listen to,
this
necessarily.
This is my list of what I've listened to and I've really liked.
Okay.
So I think my favorite this year was from For King and Country.
Oh, yes.
They did a Christmas album called A Drummer Boy Christmas.
Yes.
And
Are you talking about this year?
This year, yep.
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
So it's like upbeat praise and worship Christmas. Like it's just everything on there is solid. It starts with kind of like this little prologue that's in the bleak midwinter, and then that kind of starts slowly. And then it builds up, and then it goes into all their other stuff, and it's a really solid album. Just
They came last year was when they had Little Drummer Boy that went like it was huge.
yeah, and so I think that's incorporated in this album. But
I
they just
love
have
that song.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's good. So yeah, there's Joy to the World, Little Drummer Boy, Go Tell It on the Mountain, and then they do O Come Emmanuel with Need to Breathe. Just all really just good praise and worship Christmas songs.
Any Dolly Parton features?
Well, there is a Dolly Parton Christmas album that came out this year.
Really?
It is called.
I love her.
I know.
Okay.
It's called A Holly Dolly Christmas.
Yes.
Because
perfect.
if Dolly Parton's doing Christmas,
Yes.
that's how you do it. And I don't know, glam country isn't necessarily my favorite thing, but I really do like Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I do too.
And so she kind of takes that album and it's a little larger than life, kind of like Dolly is in many ways. But yeah, it's a lot of old favorites, and then there's some originals on there. She does a couple duets on there. One of them is with Bublé, and one's with
Cool.
Jimmy Fallon. They get they're not inappropriate, but they get a little steamy just in their banter back
Yeah.
and forth. So I don't know if I can like really plug them on a church podcast, but they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
All right, I'm gonna look those up. My kids love Dolly.
Oh,
Well,
she's
I
good.
might have turned them on to Dolly.
Yeah, and I think Dolly is genuinely a Jesus-loving, very kind, caring, warm person. And so, yeah, it's a good album. It's pretty solid.
Okay, what else do you got on that list?
Okay, so Chris Tomlin came out with a new one this year,
Okay.
new album called Miracle of Love. And one of kind of the headline of that album is the song Miracle of Love, which is just kind of talking about Jesus coming down and what he did here. But it's kind of got almost a Beatles vibe to it. It's
Oh,
kind of cool.
yes.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's good. And if we want to talk about this new song that made me cry this year,
Was there just one?
well, this is the main one. So the backstory, apparently I have a reputation of being a crier in the
Yes.
office. In fact, the pew where I sit has a box of tissues with my name on it. So I don't know who might have put that there, Cori.
I don't know either.
Yeah. But Carrie Underwood came out with a Christmas album.
Okay.
There is a song on there called Sweet Baby Jesus. And I would describe it almost as a Mary Did You Know, but talking to Jesus instead of Mary. Like, just talking to this tiny little baby. And it just, like, you picture your babies when they were babies. Thinking about all these big things that were coming up in his life. And it gets you. It's a really pretty song.
Awesome.
And of course, the Pentatonics have a new album, Christmas album, as we discussed. So.
Oh, that's a good list. That's
Yeah.
a long
And there's
list.
more. I mean, that's not all of the new ones this year, but those are the good ones.
So the good news is people are like interested in all this music. So now they're going to have to actually watch us again, like listen again, so they can now write down everything that you just
Exactly.
said because that was a lot.
I know it was a lot to take in
Okay,
right
so
there.
you're in charge of social media here.
Well,
We're both. It's
we're
a team
both,
effort.
yes.
What do you plan on doing here in December?
So we have been working on a big, long playlist of Christmas music, old and new. I've gotten input from our staff.
Yep.
And then I posted in our online community group on Facebook asking for people's favorites. And I'm compiling all that and getting other stuff and throwing it in and making a really, really long playlist that should be available on Apple Music and Spotify.
Okay. How did like, is it going to be like a central thing?
Yes.
Or, okay.
So the title is A Central Christmas.
Oh, cool.
And so we'll share links to both the Apple Music and Spotify on our social feeds.
Okay.
Early December. So keep an eye out for that.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other things?
That's all I got.
Okay.
I talked long enough. We need a guest now.
I'm going to need for you to send me an email or whatever you have that you've been reading off. Can you just copy that and just send it right over to me so I can take a look at it?
Yes, I will do that.
Well, I hope you guys have had fun with this podcast and you have a lot of different music choices that just will bring you joy this December because we all need that joy, don't we?
Yep, absolutely.
So thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to 167. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you're listening from.
And to keep up with everything at Central Community Church, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to watch us record this podcast live, find us on YouTube.
We think the 167 hours between church services are so important, and we hope you'll share this episode with your friends. Join us next week.